Hello, Trinity, and welcome to Advent. We are going to be exploring what it means to have hope, hopefully, a thrill of it, if you will. So, um, grab your favorite beverage and join us together as we explore what it means to be hopeful in this time of Advent. Uh, Todd, Amanda, thanks for joining. Hopefully, we're going to have some fun exploring our time together. So, this week 1, we're going to jump right into Advent with watching and waiting. Hope begins in waiting. So, we have a few questions that hopefully we can answer together and then see where this roller coaster goes. Sound good?
Great.
Right. So, just to start us off, where have you found yourself waiting in life, and where have you found God being more active in the waiting than the actual outcome?
I'm so terrible at waiting. I am so impatient with things. I just kind of want things to happen on my schedule, and it never seems to work that way. And so that's a place, that whole idea of waiting is a thing that I'm still trying to explore and figure out for myself. What does it mean? Advent has always been a little bit of a mystery to me as I'm trying to figure those things out for myself. What does it mean to wait for God, to wait for God's presence? That's something I've always kind of struggled with personally.
Absolutely. The waiting, especially most recently, I've had a lot of moments of waiting
Yeah.
and with medical issues, waiting for diagnoses, waiting for treatment plans, waiting to find out how uh, my health is doing. There's been a lot of waiting recently, and I too feel really impatient in those moments. And yeah, there's that fear in those moments of limbo too, of the what if monster, what if this, what if that, and trying to, um, stay hopeful amidst the what if monsters.
Those come up way too often, I'm sure, especially, as we're talking about, different things for Advent, about the end of the world, like Luke 21 here, we'll be talking about this week, where Jesus is pointing out all the different ways that the world might end.
That's pretty upbeat.
Right? Yeah, it's an upbeat way to start Advent, right? So how do we remain hopeful in those places of waiting when super serious things like what you were saying, Amanda, um, things going sideways? How do we wait in that hopefulness? So one of my favorite places, obviously, is Caribou Coffee, and
Mhm.
their motto is "Life is short, stay awake for it." Not sponsored content, by the way, so no worries. But what helps you stay spiritually awake when the world feels heavy or distracting?
Hmm.
Like for me, being attentive to what's going on in the world, right? Trying to Karl Barth had famously said, hold a newspaper in one hand and the Bible in the other. I think that's an important practice around this time. Being in prayer, being attentive to that spiritual practice for me are ways that I stay awake.
I guess a practice for me has been looking for those places of gratitude or thankfulness throughout the day, or things that are going well, or the people who are supportive, and reminding myself of those bright lights every day that I am experiencing.
Mhm.
There also comes to the point where you have to find some healthy limits to how much you're taking in of the world and how much you're just giving yourself a break from the world. I don't know if they're called like mini Sabbath moments of, okay, for the next hour, I need to disengage and just breathe or go for a walk or read something not scary or work related or just frivolous and fun or pray or organize or something else or be creative. And
Mhm.
yeah.
I think part of my practice has become um, to try to not look at what's going on in the world around me just in and of itself, but rather through a lens of the question, where's God in the middle of all this? Um, because I think to reinforce what you're saying, it can all feel really overwhelming. All the things that are going on, all the negativity that we hear, all the cultural anger and angst and all those things. Um, but if I try to look at those things through the lens of, so where's God in the middle of this?
Mhm.
What's God doing in this?
Mhm.
Um, and look for that, which is by itself kind of a spiritual practice, a spiritual discipline of looking for those things. Then I find myself when I see those slivers, it brings me hope.
Mm.
It says, this is not spinning out of control. Um, it is feels like it sometimes, but God is there in the midst of it, and we have faith in that. We cling to that.
Mm. Right.
Can I tell a story?
Yeah, please.
So this happened to me today. I was leaving Mayo and I was about to pay to park. And there was this guy in front of me. And I noticed, I mean, he was struggling with his walking on his own. So I don't know what his problems were, but he certainly had whatever, he had his own issues. And he was in front of me in the parking to pay at the kiosk. And he asked the woman, well, could I pay for some people?
Hmm.
She's like, yeah, you can pay for people's parking. And he goes, "Okay, I all right, I'll take 5 passes for 5 people
Hmm.
and just give them out as you see fit." And I was really touched by that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean,
Did you get free parking?
he looked at me and he said, "Do you need free parking?" But someone had already gifted me free
Oh.
parking actually, so I had my free parking pass for the day, but he was just like, "I don't know who the people are." He just told the people at the parking, "Here, I just trust you to hand them out to people who you need." And I don't know, that lifted me. Like, I just had this moment of like, "Oh, you're a nice man."
Absolutely.
Well, it was just a moment of grace.
It was a moment of grace. He wasn't looking and he didn't want the thank you.
Mhm.
He just knew they would be used. And it would be one of those moments where like no one wants to pay for parking at and just to have that as a lift. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, right, yeah, and finding those places of hope, right, and just in your ordinary everyday life, right,
Mhm.
uh, can be hard and challenging, but it's also where I find like the gospel and maybe sitting in church comes to life out
Mhm.
there in the real
Oh
world,
yeah.
where it's actually rubber meets the road.
But also remind me that we can see those moments and we can be recipients of that kind of grace, and that brings us this sense of hope, but we can also be the ones who provide it.
Mhm.
I mean, that guy, I have no idea,
Mhm.
you know, who he was or anything about him, but he went home and felt good
I hope so.
about what he did. I mean, and that he got to
Mhm.
be a source of that kind of grace for someone else. That by itself is a gift. That's transforming.
Yeah. Right, and in a way brings about the kingdom of God, right? Like just in that small act, we're seeing the kingdom of God breaking in,
Mhm.
which is exactly what Advent's all about,
Right.
right? The
Right.
kingdom of the God breaking into the world,
Mhm.
and we get to join in that in some way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, are there other like maybe small signs of hope right now that you're seeing in the world, or even here at Trinity that
Mhm.
you're noticing of signs of hope, signs of waiting?
Yeah, I think they're all over. It's not about whether or not they appear, it's whether or not we see them.
Mm, mm.
Um, and
Preach.
yeah, and how do we,
I like that. Yeah.
how do we look? I mean, I see these moments when it's as simple as when people have been bringing in coats for community
Mhm.
pathways that we've been transporting over, or bringing in the cards for Thanksgiving meal things, or food donations, or whatever it might be, or the gifts people are giving to community pathways in the last couple of weeks when there's
Mhm.
been so much chaos around food supplies and such for shelters. It's those are all these moments that are just beautiful, and I can either walk past them or I can
Mhm.
notice them.
Right. You can choose to look for God or you can keep scanning for danger, but whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? I think finding those small little times of hope really do a lot to affect my day too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like the world might be a little dark and gloomy, maybe literally as it gets darker at 4:30 in the afternoon, or as it gets darker just in events and things. But those little tiny moments of
Mhm.
even someone just giving me a cup of coffee,
Mhm.
pouring me a cup of coffee gives me hope in some way, shape, or form. Hey, thanks.
I I was out of town this weekend and I was watching worship from Wisconsin, and the choir was so spectacular this weekend, seeing all of like the youth and the adults up there, that was super inspiring. I mean, I watched that a couple times online.
Yeah.
That was
We had people that came to 9:30 and then stayed for 10:45 to see the
it
choir a
was
second
just
kind.
it
It was
was
amazing.
Wow.
really
Mm.
spectacular. I thought it was really spectacular. Yeah.
S Absolutely. It's so cool to be in a part of that, in a part of this movement here, looking and finding ways of hope. And so, we cast it out to you all, Trinity folk. What ways are you finding hope? What ways are you, paying attention, staying spiritually awake? You could either leave a comment on this video if that's possible, or share with your family and friends. See which ways that you are seeing hope in the world, even in the midst of these shadowy times. So we'll see you next week. But for Pastor Amanda, Pastor Todd, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
I'm like, everything's gonna make me cry. I feel, why is Amanda crying through the whole thing?
Yeah, one tear down the cheek.